We're back with Season 2 of Funding Rural. I'm Erin Borla, your host and guide on this crazy journey. I'm the executive director of the Roundhouse Foundation, which is based on a ranch in rural Sisters, Oregon. I made this show because I was personally curious about how philanthropy could better serve rural and Indigenous communities to spark systemic change. Turns out, there are a lot of folks out there who've been thinking about this too. And with every great conversation I had last season, I got ideas for more questions and issues to explore with all of you. So that's what we're going to do in Season 2. In philanthropy, it's not one size fits all. What works for one rural or Indigenous community may not work for another.
There's this concept of best practices. You've probably heard of it. And best practices for who? You know, I believe in what one of my elders says, effective practices. Because what might be a best practice for some group might not be for another group, from one community to another.
But the work we do in these communities matters now more than ever.
I have never felt more needed than when I am in a small town, because there's fewer people. You can't sit on the bench. Everybody's got to play if you're going to succeed. And from a philanthropy standpoint, when you look at depth of impact, I think it's just the small communities will show you that. You can see change as it occurs, and it's just, I love it. That's why I love being in a small town.
Philanthropic organizations tend to be based in urban centers, in a way mirroring the urban-rural divide we have in this country. I believe we need to explore that divide before we can start to build the trust necessary to bridge it.
You have to understand the assets and experience of rural places and how important they've been to the success of the country and really what's been done to them. So it's not so much as fixing as it is helping them recover from a lot of the injustices that have been done to these places.
If there's one thing that working and living in a rural community has taught me, it's humility, being humble, recognizing where my knowledge ends and theirs begins.
Acknowledging, like, you've got expertise, I've got expertise, you've got areas that you're blind, right?
Yeah.
It's like we all do. And how do we sort of approach one another with a good sense of humor and a willingness to just be ourselves and not worry too much about the rest. When you all sort of care about an issue, how do we mobilize around that issue?
There's so much work to be done. I believe that work starts with connecting, breaking bread, finding out what brings us together, what challenges we can identify together, and then figure out how to overcome them. I can't wait to bring you another round of heartfelt, inspiring conversations with folks from all corners of philanthropy. That's coming up in Season 2 of Funding Rural, launching in September.